Hello, my name is John Lord. I am your instructor for Accounting 58. Welcome to class. I'm putting together this welcome video. Some of you have asked some questions about the way the course is organized, et cetera. So I think the best thing is for me to post this welcome video. You can see I've shared my screen. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you most likely have clicked on what will now be a hyperlink here for the video that you are watching. So that will be there when you're finally looking at this. I'm going to start with a little bit about my background, just so you understand the context of some of the examples that I give in our weekly lectures. Um, I worked for the Government Accountability Office. GAO is the auditing investigative arm of Congress. I spent 26 years there on various first financial statement audits, looking at agencies like the Bureau of Public Debt, auditing the country's debt. I was also involved in looking at the revenue recognition for the federal government. So I did stuff for the federal government. I did some work looking at IRS financial reporting. That's where IRS issues their financial statements. Yes, IRS gets audited as well, and did various financial statement audits for probably about 20 years or so. And then in the back, I guess it was more maybe like 15 years. And in the back 10 years, I spent some time looking at program audits, focusing on financial markets and community investment, a little bit of financial market work, but then developed some indicators of stressed public housing agencies. The Department of Housing and Urban Development provides funding to housing agencies across the country, and they then monitor that. And so I developed some indicators of local, state and local, or local housing agencies that are having stress problems. And so I spent quite a bit of time looking at that. Spent some time looking at stimulus work back in the Obama administration, and retired from that work probably now going on about 10 years ago. During the time that I was at GAO, I started teaching, and I've been teaching the CPA exam for about 30 years now. So I was working for the federal government, started teaching about 7 years in, and I obviously continue to teach, and I do teach the CPA exam still. I teach that at Golden Gate University using Becker materials. So I taught for Becker CPA review for, I'm still in some capacities teaching for Becker. Been doing that for about 30 years. And for about 20 years now, been teaching at the college level, teaching CPA review at Golden Gate University. I also teach their auditing class, very similar to this one there. And I've taught governmental accounting there as well. Around 2014, as I've mentioned, I retired from the federal government, pursued teaching full time. And so I have taught at San Francisco State, San Jose State. I've taught at UC Berkeley, and I continue to teach at Stanford. I retired from the state system, now going on a couple of years, and now I teach at De Anza and Stanford. At Stanford, I teach introductory accounting, both in the School of Medicine and in the School of Management Science and Engineering. So everybody's interested in accounting, right? Even engineers, even people with MD, et cetera, are interested in accounting. So I teach that at Stanford, and I teach introductory here at De Anza, Accounting 1A, and I also obviously teach this class that you're in, and I also teach the fraud class here, Accounting 73. So that's a little bit about my background. Lots of teaching, lots of practical experience, years of both. And so I try to bring some of those examples of some of those engagements that I was talking about with the GAO into the discussion, just so you understand when you're watching the lectures. What I want to do with this short video here is go through the way the course is organized here on Canvas. You can see I have it in student view. go through the syllabus with you, and then just sort of give you my thoughts on how to be successful in this class as you go through week to week. So office hour, I'll show you that on the syllabus here in a minute, but this is how you join this office hour. It'll be via Zoom. I'll give you the dates and times here in a couple seconds, but that's where the link is, okay? Syllabus, I'm going to go through, but you can see it here, okay? And then the approach that we take is we have week to week chapters. I have slides that go along with the chapters. And then I also have a lecture that goes with that as well. Notice in here, I also have some information about how to calculate the if you've met the requirements for sitting for the CPA exam, and have you met requirements for licensure as a CPA in the state of California. Please feel free to reach out to me if you need help with any of that. As I've mentioned, I've been teaching the CPA exam for about 30 years, and I've never really tried to figure it out, but I have probably helped, probably getting into the thousands, if not tens of thousands of individuals pass the CPA exam, figure out if they have, met the requirements, schedule their exams, that sort of thing. So if you need help with any of that, don't hesitate to reach out. And I posted some of that information here. And then we have the lecture for chapter 1, and I've given you some slides to take a look at as well there. So the best way is to have the slides, maybe have them available on your computer, on your laptop, on your tablet, and then watch my lecture while we're going through, and make any notations that you think are necessary on those slides as you go through watching the lecture. And then I also give in those lectures some practice questions that are very similar to what we will see on our exams and our midterms. And that's the case, our midterm and then our final, of course. And you can see week to week how that will go through. Okay, so I think the best thing at this point is for us to look at the syllabus. Okay, and you can see my contact information, okay, my email, my phone number, that's my cell phone. Feel free to reach out, okay? If you have questions, you need to talk through something, that's fine. I'll take text, I'll take calls. Sometimes I'll tell students, hey, call me, because they'll have, a real long email or text asking me things that we can cover better in a conversation, okay? You can see the classes obviously online, and then you can see the office hour here and the link for the office hour. You can click what I was showing you there in Canvas. Okay, you could also do that and just click in there, and it'll give you that same link, and you can join the office hour that way, or you can put that in your browser that's on the syllabus and join the office hour that way. Okay, the textbook is optional. Okay, I do use a McGraw-Hill product, but it's not something that you have to acquire. I have many students who do well in this class who never acquire this, but you should follow this link, register through McGraw-Hill Connect, so you can start to take a look at some of the homework and see if you think it is helpful to you. If it is, then after the 2-week trial period, they will ask you to provide some payment information, and you should go ahead and acquire the book. If you feel after the trial period is over that, hey, I think I can be successful in this class without acquiring the book, then I would just let the free trial period expire, and that's it. And then you won't be able to access it anymore, but you may not feel that it's necessary. So I put that into your hands to make that decision if you want to acquire this book or not. I am not going to be giving any homework points, so this is entirely optional and up to you as to whether or not you think this book is worthwhile to you. Now, when you follow that link, okay, it will ask you for some registration information and whatnot. Go ahead and give that to them. Don't give them your credit card or anything, because you're not ready to make the decision to pay for it or not yet. But once you do, then you'll be in here and you'll be able to see the various assignments that I have set up. And it looks like some of you have already started to look at some of that. Okay, but that's our class, and you'll be able to see that in there I have, some of these homework questions, and I want to see if I can preview this, I guess, or maybe I should put myself in student view. Okay. And you can start to see some of the questions that are similar to what we will actually have on our exams. Okay. Now, during the lecture, I go through some of these, so you'll see these in the lecture. But if you want to continue chapter to chapter as we progress through the class, to firsthand look at some of this stuff on your own, you would need to, after the trial period's over, give them the information to acquire the book. But I let you decide that. I don't require it because I do have students that say, hey, I really felt I could have done fine without the book. And so I don't, force you to get something that maybe you can be as successful as you want to be in this class without it. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, go ahead and follow that link, register for the class, take a look at that information, and then make a decision here in a couple of weeks as to whether or not you want to keep that access. Okay, I'm going to let you look through the course description, objectives, and student learning outcomes on your own. But let me just sort of summarize what we're talking about here. If you haven't had an auditing class before, what we're doing now in this class is you spend probably quite a bit of time from the prepare of the financial statements standpoint, introductory, intermediate accounting. All of those are geared towards, I'm the company, I have to follow guidance, usually financial accounting standards, board standards, general accepted accounting principles, FASB standards, maybe a little IFRS, right? What do I have to do to prepare these financial statements to be in compliance with the requirements that the FASB has put into place? Now what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we are now the auditor of that information, and we want to see, did the company follow those standards? Okay, so now we have to follow standards that are promulgated by either the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, PCAOB, we'll talk about them, or the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA's Auditing Standards Board. Public companies, PCAOB, non-public companies, private companies, we're going to follow the AICPA's Auditing Standards Board standards, okay? Now, we're going to be looking at those. These are procedures that CPAs do in order to render an opinion on the financial statements, which we will talk about at the end of the class. The opinion maybe is a one-page report that states, as a licensed individual in the various 50 states, I talk a lot about California requirements, okay, but the states have various requirements for how to be licensed, but the rules that are followed are the same across the 50 states. And in fact, there's a nexus between the US standards and the international standards, although we don't get much in international standards here. But basically, we follow those standards in order to render that opinion. The opinion is a one-page report that says, hey, user of these financial statements, you can rely on these statements. Now, sometimes my students will be, that's it, a single piece of paper, and that's how I'm supposed to know. It's everything that goes behind that piece of paper, the licensing process, the procedures that we go through, the education that you have that makes that a very important document that as a CPA in the various states, you are licensed to render that opinion. You're really almost like a judge, right? Your opinion is the only real independent opinion in the room that counts at any point in time, okay? So that's where we're going with this class, and I think you'll start to see that as you start getting through the lectures. We primarily rely on examinations in this class. There will be 3 examinations. Each one is 100 points, 2 midterms, and a final. The final is not comprehensive, so it's really like 3 midterms. And typically the way I do the exams is there are 20 multiple choice questions worth 4 points each. That constitutes 80 points. And then I'll have one objective format type question, maybe a matching or something, which will have multiple components, which will total up to 20 points. And yes, you can get partial credit on those objective questions. The multiple choice, it's either right or wrong. But those objective, you may miss one element, but you may get some others right. And so you could get partial credit on those. That rolls you up to 100 points. Those McGraw-Hill questions that I have embedded in the lecture and the ones that you'll see during the trial period and you may extend beyond are good practice for what you actually end up seeing on the exam itself. Okay. Guest speaker write-up. We will have a guest speaker that will come in. I will record that. Probably the guest speaker is going to visit me in a different campus, but I will go ahead and record that and then post that up. And I'll be putting up a guest speaker rubric a little later in the course that you'll see there's some questions that I want you to answer. And typically I try to get somebody who's been in the profession. Sometimes I'll even get a recruiter to come and talk about the process for joining a firm in that. And we use that to put together, and it's a 3-page paper, pretty easy. I don't mind, if students use Chat GPT to, take a first pass at the paper. But I really expect you as a professional, as an emerging professional, to go back through that thing after you've received some input from Chat GPT and really craft that and hone that down to your own personal discussion of whatever the questions are that are in the guest speaker write-up rubric. I get annoyed, to be honest with you, and I'm going to tell you another annoyance here in a couple of seconds, but I get annoyed when students just throw something into Chat GPT and then just slap it at me like, okay, here, I've met the requirements. No, that's not going to fly. Okay. So if you want to use it to start, sure. But then you need to go through it and make it your own personal document. I see it as a tool, a means to an end, not an end in itself. Okay. So that's primarily where our grades will come from. You can see the grading scale, nothing shocking here. Most of my students in this class live up here, okay? I'm not here to harm your GPA. I'm here to help you to get an understanding of some things that will make you successful on the class, of course, but then also help you to take that next step. And for many of you, that may be taking a professional CPA exam, for example, or professional exam like the CPA exam, or as you embark in a career, or if you're already working, just sort of understanding the reasons behind some of the procedures and some of the requirements that we need to do in an audit. Okay. You really got to try hard to do something wrong to get down in here. Okay. Now, here's where we will have trouble. Something always seems to happen in every one of my classes, and I don't know why, but I'll get a student that will, send me a panicked email saying they forgot to take the exam. Guys, I don't have sympathy for that. I do not. I do not have sympathy for that. You must take the exams. I give you a good, ample window of time to take these exams. Take them during the time that is designated, and I'll show you those dates here in the syllabus in a minute, and you should be fine. Don't forget to take the exam or, get so overwhelmed the day before the exam that you decide not to take it and then say you forgot or have something that came up that doesn't allow you to take the exam. Not going to fly too well. You're going to see that I'm pretty much not sympathetic to not taking the exams as scheduled. No cheating. You do your own work. And I do have analytics that will indicate that there's been some inappropriate irregularities with anomalies with how you've taken that exam. And I will call you out on those if you do those things. So just plan accordingly, take the exams when they're due. Okay. You can see some important dates here and I'll let you take a look at those, but you can see week to week We cover, one or a couple chapters per week. And then the midterms, and the way the midterms will work, you can see May 6th is listed here as the date for our first midterm. That's a Monday. So what'll happen is the exams will open at 12 a.m. That's midnight on Monday, May 6th, that first exam, and it will remain open that entire week. It'll close, and it's a hard close at 11:59 on May 12th. So it stays open for a week. Sunday, May 12th at 11:59, it closes, and it closes hard on you. If you are in the middle of a question and 11:59 on May 12th comes up, the exam will close on you. So you need to schedule accordingly a 3-hour window. So take the exam, say on, I'm just going to pick a date here out of the air, Friday, May 10th. Take it at, say you start at noon. The exam will close on you at 3 o'clock. Okay. You have 3 hours. You choose the window. Once you start the exam, you can't stop it. Okay. And it will open for you, and you open it and you start taking it, and it'll close on you after 3 hours. And you got 3 hours to work through 20 multiple choice questions. Okay. And that objective format question that I talked about before. Now, where will the exam be? It'll be in Canvas. So you'll go to quizzes. Okay. And you will see, and these are closed now because this is for last term, but you'll see midterm 1, midterm 2, and the final exam. Those will be not these same exams, but that's how it'll look to you. You'll see those, and you will take those exams during the times that are indicated, and write it down on your calendar or put it into your phone or whatever. Everyone carries their iPhone with them everywhere they go these days, right? So just go ahead. I was out yesterday and I forgot my cell phone. I was losing my mind. I left it at home, and it's, we're so used to having these phones all the time. So put this information down in your phone, okay? And, for the dates, midterm 1, midterm 2, and the final, which is not comprehensive, okay? All right, so make sure, guys, I put those dates in red, put them in your calendar. Make sure you are thinking through as the week comes when the exam's going to be, when am I going to take it? You can use any material from this class, to take the exam. Anything I have provided you on Canvas, anything that's in McGraw-Hill Connect, you can use that during the exam. You can't use things from outside, like these different websites that Course Hero and that. No, you can't use any of that. If you do, I'll know, and you will be in trouble. Okay, I'm not going to give you the points for that test. So make sure that you do your own work, and you should be fine and get a good grade on those exams, and thus a good grade in the class. Okay, so that is how we're going to do things. Right now, my recommendation would be to go ahead and register for the McGraw-Hill Connect, and then get in and start taking a look at our first week's lecture. And if you have questions, you have my email, you have the office hour, and we'll should have a pretty good quarter here. Okay, all right, guys. Hope to see you soon. Take care.